is some information about your requirements for Assessment 2 for auditing the Case A report. Now for the important things, it's due for the Wagga Online students on the 12th of August and for the Study Centre students on the 19th of August because they started a week later. The return date is 3 weeks later, but for my Wagga Online students, I hope to get it back much sooner than that. The length of the assignment is 2,000 words. Please make sure that you read all the requirements and complete all the requirements, and that you've carefully read the criteria for the assessment and how we will mark that assessment, as this will help you maximise your marks in this assignment. The first question is worth 7% of your total mark in the subject, and for this question you need to prepare a report. There's information for report writing at the link included in this PowerPoint. Now this is a link to a site on Interact and you need to click on Enroll to access the link. Now there are a couple of things that need to be included in the report. The first is a summary and justification of the audit responsibility to review governance of an audit client. And your initial information for this is going to be ASA315 and your textbook, Gay and Simnett. You also need to include in the report a table which looks at each of the APRA identified Commonwealth government issues and see how they affect audit risk. Now you're looking at this as if you were auditing a bank. The Commonwealth Bank got into lots of problems about whether or not they were acting with as much integrity as they should, and APRA did a review of them. And the link in the subject outline is a link to a summary of that review. The reference for that link to the review is here and in the subject outline. And what you need to do with those governance issues is to prepare a table where you list the issues, look at the impact on audit risk from that issue, look at the recommendations and explain those, and then consider how that recommendation would impact on audit risk. And this needs to be quite clearly explained by you. So that's question 1, the report. Question 2 is worth 3% and it's not a report. You need to answer this by completing the American Accounting Association Ethical Decision Model table that's in the subject outline. Make sure you address all the sections of the model, explaining your response to each section fully and come to a conclusion. Remember that we did the Gay and Simnett question 3.20 as an example of how to use the American Accounting Association Ethical Decision Model. So look at how you answered that question and see how that can then be applied to the case study in the assignment. Question 3 is worth 3% of the final mark, and again, not a report. What you need to do is to examine the changes in the statutes and how they have impacted on audit liability. We're looking at capping liability, and you need to consider how this has impacted on the determination of audit negligence and any actions that businesses might take or shareholders might take against the auditors. The initial reference for this is Gay and Simnett. You will also, I'm sure, find other references that are relevant. Please read the requirements of the question very carefully and read the criteria that we're going to use in answering that question. The last 2% in this assignment are for presentation. 1% is for professional communication. And again, read through the marking criteria that we will use. And if you're unsure of your grammar, run your assignment through Grammarly or your WordProcess grammar checker to check that you've communicated clearly the information in your assignment. The last 1% is for referencing, and again, check the criteria for referencing. Ensure that you use appropriate in-text references and have a reference list at the end of your assignment. I look forward to reading your assignments.